go over the steps to remove a dash in 300D or 300TD or 300CD. W123 Mercedes. And I'm not going to cover the 240D. Well, I guess we can talk about it. But the 240D will have a vent right here, a vent selection. And I think it connects with maybe a chain or a lever or something. So that I don't have a 240D to cover that. But if you've got a 240D, all the steps should be basically the same, except for that step there. You're going to have to reach in there and disconnect that. So let's get started. So basically you have, let's just go over the fasteners. You're going to have one over in that corner. You're going to have one under the speaker grill. You're going to have one right here. You're going to have one behind this button here, depending on it's 240D or well, yeah, depending on what model, you know, it may be, you may have to remove this whole panel, but like on a 300D or a 300TD, you can just remove this button and this button, because there's one behind this button as well. I could swear on some vehicles, there's one right here, but on my 300D and my 300TD, there's not one here. But like I said, check here to make sure. Then you're gonna have one over in this corner here and behind the speaker grill here. That is your dash fasteners. Now, there's other things you have to do to get the dash out, like you're going to have to remove the instrument cluster, and you're going to have to remove the, you know, the kick panel. Well, that's not kick panel, the under dash panels, which are just going to be a series of screws, and mine are both removed, but there's just a series of screws along here. And then I think on each corner there's a push fastener. Just look at the panel, you should see there's in these screws, sometimes they have little covers covering the screws that line up over here. Like I said, mine's been removed on this car for years, just because this car is a work in progress. And like I said, working on a seat cushion here. But anyway, mine's been removed for a long time, so I can't show you the removal of that. But just remove those. If it's got the covers on it, be careful with those covers. They're hard to find. Don't lose them. Don't break them. Just gently get a little pick and get those covers out. And that'll allow you access like to this screw and stuff like that. Now, you're also going to have to remove the inner glove box, this piece. I'll show you removing that. And you're going to have to disconnect your vents on the outer sides. And then on a 300D or 300TD that has climate control, you're going to have to disconnect the tube that runs to this sensor, and you're going to have to pull this sensor out of its little connector. And that's just so it doesn't get damaged. And of course, it's got a wire hooked up to it. So you're going to have to unplug your speakers, and you're going to have to take your switch out here, your headlight switch, and you're going to have to disconnect your emergency brake. There's a chain that connects the lever to the mechanism, and the chain will get disconnected from the mechanism. You're also, to make this easier, you're going to want to remove your steering wheel. And I think that mostly covers everything. I don't think there's any other steps. So we're going to go through those real quick, and I'm going to show you. I guess we could start with the steering wheel. And I just pull, kind of disconnects. Then you're going to get a little plastic pry tool. I have to go grab mine. And you're going to get in here and you're going to pop the Mercedes emblem out. So let's do that. All this is the tool I have. Just is in a set of plastic pry tools, and I just get in here, pop it out. So that's somewhere safe. And now you can reach in here and you can kind of pull, and it'll make more sense once I get it out. You can kind of see. You just kind of pull the foam towards the inner circle. And what it's got is it's got like a foam lip that catches in here. And so you just pull that in to release it from this lip. So now we've got this off. Now, at this point, I highly recommend an impact wrench. It is very difficult to get this thing off without an impact wrench. If you don't have an impact, you know, just hold the steering wheel, get an Allen in there, and you may have to, you know, take this off to, you know, if you can't get deep enough. But it's gonna be difficult with regular Allen wrench. Definitely gonna want a, you know, a socket style Allen. And then don't just pry against the steering lock, you know, hold the steering wheel and break this loose. You don't want to end up breaking the steering lock mechanism by prying, because this thing's gonna be really tight. So I'm just gonna go through, I'm gonna zip this off with the impact. The reason I do the steering wheel first is it just kind of gets it out of the way. You know, because when you're getting up under the dash or you're getting the instrument cluster out, so it just makes it a little easier. So that's why we're doing steering wheel first. We'll do it first. We'll do kind of everything on this side, on the driver's side, and then we'll hop over to the passenger side. So center your steering wheel before you take it off. And what is this, 8mm, 10mm? It's 10mm. And I'm just gonna get in here. Easy peasy. Set that in the back seat, and look at all that room. So let's jump over to the dash. Easiest way that I've found to get the dash out is once you remove this bottom panel, you can just reach around here. You can just push it out. You don't need any special tools. And at some point mine leaked before I got it, and so this under dash pad's got some oil on it, but yeah, kind of messy. So I have to go get me a rag. It's a mess. Let me get a rag, and I'm gonna switch to camera with tripod so I can show you a little better. Okay, so you're gonna pull the dash out. It's gonna be a little bit hard to get to, but you're gonna reach under on the right side, and on mine, since it's a 85, there's a extra little plug, I think, for the, it's different, I think, for the tack. But you're gonna have a 2 plugs on the right side, and I can show you once I get the dash out, or the cluster out. Like I said, on mine, it may be a little different. But I've got 2 plugs on the, basically the clock and tack side. And then I have a plug on the top of the speedometer. I think that's for cruise control. Then you're going to have the speedometer cable, which is going to have to be, it's got like a little nut, a fastener nut on it. It's going to have to be turned to loosen it. So you're just going to turn that, and you can pull the speedometer cable out. At that point, you're going to get a little more slack in the cluster. There's a big plug on the left side, and that's for your fuel gauge and stuff like that. So that's going to come out. And then you have a blue light, or a blue wire bulb, and then you have a green, black and green. And so that is all of your wiring. The only thing you have left is the oil line. And so you're going to need a 10mm and then a 13mm. 13mm to holds the backup, and then the line itself is a 10mm. When we grab that, we'll undo that, and then we can pull this cluster out. So I've got my backup wrench right here, and we're going to hold that. Try to get this thing where it's easier to get to. Like I said, I leave the oil line to last because it gives you more room to work with it. If you have everything else unplugged, you know, you can get the cluster out further. And like I said, with the steering wheel out of the way, I mean, you can easily remove the cluster without removing the steering wheel, but with it out of the way, it just makes things even easier. So once you unscrew that, the cluster come right out. So plug here, like I said, yours could be different. Mine's an 85. Plug here, these two bulbs, actually these two bulbs, and then you're going to have your oil line, speedometer cable, just unscrew it, pull the cable out, plug here, oil line, and then plug here. So get that out of the way. I'm going to reach in through the dash here while I'm right here, and I'm going to pull my speaker wire around, and I can't remember if I left the plug on here. If you did, you can unplug. There's going to be a little plug on the speaker wire itself if you have the stock speakers to unplug them. In mine, we got aftermarket speakers. I think I bypassed the plug. So I'm going to unplug it from the speaker. I did leave the plug. So I'm going to unplug the plug. I can get y'all in here and show you. Going to have a little plug right here. And there's going to be one like that on each side to get the speaker unplugged. That's what the other end looks like. Once you do that, I got y'all zoomed in. We're going to go over here. We have to pull this, or kind of move this padding out of the way. But you can pull your speaker, or your vent tube off. Just pull it back. You can grab the tube in here, pull it, or grab it from underneath. Now for your headlight switch, just pull it off. It may seem difficult, but just grab it and pull it off. And behind it, you're going to have a nut. So just take that nut off, and then I just use needle nose pliers and grab it. It shouldn't be that tight. Grab it and take this nut off, and then you can push the headlight switch out. Alright, and loosen the nut. And then just set this out of your way. And just push the switch out, or you can grab it from behind and pull it out. And I just pull it out and just leave it hanging out of the way. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to undo the brake release. Like I said, we're working on this side, so once we do the brake release, we'll probably go ahead and take the speaker grill out. There's the bolts behind here, and then we'll undo the bolt that's right over here. Alright, speaker grill, it's on each side, similar process. Actually, I'm going to take the screw out, and then we're going to remove the A-pillar trim first. It's a little easier to get the speaker grill in and out without the A-pillar. And the A-pillar can be kind of a mess. So, if we come over here, you got your A-pillar. Now make sure to not break your VIN tag off. But you're going to come in here probably about 3 inches up, and actually I like to hit them, kind of wiggle them around before we even start. But come up about 3 inches with your little wedge tool, and you're going to come out, and that's about where, once you, this is a very difficult process to get these off, but once you start prying out, you can kind of see where they are. And then once I see where it is, which is, this is where it is, I can see it, I like to push kind of on the clip as I'm prying out. It makes it a little bit easier to get these things off, because they can really get stuck. Like this one has not moved yet. So I can try to come in here and get actually behind the clip. That's what I am now. I'm behind the clip. So I went in at an angle behind the clip, and I should have brought a second pry tool. I've got the whole kit in my other car. But what we can do is I'm going to come in here and just push on the metal part of the clip. I'm not up against anything. I'm just pushing in on the clip. And we've got it undone. It'll make a little more sense once I get it out, once you can see what this clip is doing. But let's go up top and do the same thing. So about right here. And I'm looking in here to see it. I think I may be right on it. Yeah, I am. So, like I said, try to come in and get behind the clip once you see it. And I'm sorry, I can't get y'all in here. There's no way I can get y'all in here and me in here too. And got my, I'm just going to come in here and push the clip. It's not wanting to release. Not wanting to release yet. And this is from a microphone from my hands-free. It's in there tight. These things can get brittle, so that's why I'm not too or more aggressive with it. Let's try. Make a whole video just on A-pillar trim. This is not a knife blade, this is flat blade. I'm just trying to see if it would work better. Like I said, these clips just kind of get stuck. Alright. I'm going to come in from this side now. Try to get it under it, because it's coming off more on one side than the other. These I don't think have been removed on this car. Let me get another plastic pry tool. Need 2 of them. Alright, see what I'm doing? Okay. Grabbed a straight one. Work a little better. Get it in here. It's a little thinner though. It's not as stiff. Like I said, I'm going to just try to push on the clip. to release it. They rust in place, and I think that's what's happened with this one. I didn't have near this trouble with the other one on my other car, either one on the other car. But someone had broken one of the clips on my other car, and so, and the VIN tag was already bent out of the way, so I knew someone had been in there before. Let's show you all the clip real quick while it's opened up. You can see in there, there's the clip. And like I said, it'll make more sense once we get started, or once we get this thing out of here. I'm gonna fiddle with it a little bit, and then I'll bring y'all back when I get it out. Alright, I'm gonna try to depress the clip. Get my tool back in here. It came out a little bit, and I can see a little piece of the clip. Actually, I don't want that tool, I want this one. This one has fought me the most. Bigger gap now. Alright. So those clips go in this little spot here. What you're trying to do is these are catching. See what I'm doing? So you're trying to get something in there to kind of depress this to help pull them out. Same way down here. These things can be a beast to get out. And luckily we got this one out. Alright. I think we're ready to move to the passenger side. We've got the headlight switch, the brake release, the vent. Oh, show y'all. So we took our screw out of here. Now the speaker grill will come off easier with the 8-pillar off. And we're going to go ahead and take this bolt out right here. And like I said, check to make sure you don't have one right here. And then we're going to take this bolt. Yeah. Come on, padding, get out of the way. This bolt right here. So I'm going to take those out, and once you get the, well, it's technically this nut, and once you get it off, I push the bolt through. There's just enough gap between the metal frame here and the padding, the vinyl, to push that bolt out. So take that bolt out, or take the nut off, push the bolt out. I'm going to do that real quick. And I think that's a 10mm, and that's an 8mm. So those two need to come out. Alright, you can see right there in the middle of your screen, that is the emergency brake and the emergency brake chain. So what you're going to do is you can pull this back to get slop in the chain, and then you're just going to come over here and come on, unhook it. There. Pretty simple. Now I had my radio out for the reason I was checking radio wiring for my other car, but you're going to pull this wood panel off. Mine just falls off, so most of the time they come off pretty easily. They've got some little push fasteners, not push fasteners, but just something that just pushes into these spots that kind of holds it in. And then I'm going to go ahead and take these 5 screws out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll be able to remove this plate but leave the climate control module in place. And that's just because I need a little bit of room to push these switches out so I can get my hand up in there and push these out. So I'm going to take those out real quick and I'll bring you back. So just like this. And then you can reach in here and you're going to unplug these 2 outer switches and then you're going to push them through. Now I'll show you. There's some little clips on here. If you can get your finger in here and push in on these, it helps them to come out. It is kind of difficult though. And I normally just leave the little fiber optic cables attached just because, I don't know, just because you don't have to. So if you look in here, see that screw in there? And let me bring y'all back with the light. Alright, so that's that Phillips screw. And then on the other side, that one. So take those 2 out. And take those 2 out. And then I'm gonna take the A-pillar trim off here. I'm gonna take the screw out for the speaker. I'm going to take the bolt, the 8mm that's back here, and then I'm going to take the 10mm off that's right here, whatever, right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this 10mm out here. So I'm going to do all that real quick, and then I'll bring y'all back and we'll take the glove box off. Let me give you a little hint. If you have one that just won't come out, you can push it up. So push the whole panel up and the clip will slip out of the A-pillar. Now, you're still going to have to get the clip out, but I have not broken the clip. It just would not come out. So now I can actually just work with the clip, get it out, and then I can put the clip back on the A-pillar. Not ideal, but it's better than, you know, tearing up the A-pillar or breaking clips. So I'm gonna have to get a clip off my parts car because the 300 TD it already had a clip broken off from somebody prior. So I'll pull one off of it and then we'll have a full set of clips. So on your glove box, you're going to have your glove box latch. It's going to have 2 Phillips head screws. We're going to take those out. And then you're going to have, I think it's 7 push fasteners. 1, 2, 3, 4, no, over there, 5, 6, 7. And then you're going to have your glove box light. So I'm going to start with the glove box light so don't forget it. Just get your fingernail under there and just pop it loose. And you're going to just unplug the wires to it. Now, once we get this glove box off, we're going to actually unhook a wire from the push button switch here. But we can't get to that right now. So then we're going to take these 2 Phillips out. Wait a minute, there's my Phillips. Yeah, my Phillips is too long. These are a little... Tell if I'm on it or not. You use a little stubby Phillips, or if you've got a multi-tool or a little pocket knife that's got a screwdriver, you can do that. I just had this handy. I do have a stubby in the house, a stubby Phillips in the house, but this works just fine. I can see.
And I'm just going to put all this stuff in the glove box. I took all my papers out so you can see but there's still a bunch of junk in this glove box. Alright, so got those out. Then, easiest way to get these little push fasteners out is with the actual push fastener tool. Now, this came in my set of plastic pry tools, and it works really good for these. So what it does is it gets up under the pin part of it, and then it'll pull it up. So it gets so you get it between the pin and the base of it, and it makes fast work of these things. You can see how fast it's working. Of course, that one stayed together, or came apart, but that's no problem. We can go back and pull the other part of it out. You can see just how quick this goes with these things. And then, since these didn't completely come out, they come back, and we just get under it and pull the rest of it out. Boom, done. Alright, so now we can actually pull the glove box out. Now be careful because these things do get brittle. You can also reach up underneath and try to help push it out just to get it going like this. And then you don't want to be just tugging on it. Like I said, they get brittle. So this one's all in good shape. Alright, so I'm going to bring y'all over to the side and I'll show you the wire we're going to unplug. And then we're going to have to get the climate control sensor out. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to show y'all that. I'm going to show y'all kind of where it is. So, right here, you have your glove box. And you're going to undo, so you don't have to undo the wire right here, because it just goes over inside the glove box. It'll stay on the switch. But the top plug goes, you know, somewhere under the dash. So we've got that undone. So while we're over here in the glove box area, we're going to go ahead and pull our vent off. Just like that. And we're going to unplug our speaker on this side. So I'm just reaching in here, and like I said, there's a plug. Can't really see it. I think on this side it looks like it's black. The other side it was white. And there it is. It's just a little round plug. And so that's undone. Now, I'm going to try to get y'all in where you can see the climate control sensor, but I'm not sure you're going to be able to see it. Alright, so in my car, what someone has done is that foam tube disintegrated, and they used a piece of this pipe insulation and made a tube out of it. It's actually a good idea, and it's disintegrated on my other car. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to steal this idea. So that just slips off if your tube's still in place. So at the end of that tube is your climate control sensor. Now, what you can do to make this a little easier is these vent things are going to have to come off anyway. So you can actually come in here and kind of undo them, pull this rubber piece off of the vents, off the center vents. That'll give you a little more room to work. You can see I've kind of, so that's what it looks like with the rubber piece of the vent down. You can kind of see in there, that's your climate control sensor. Now that's going to have to come off or come unplugged, and the tube portion of it can stay. There's no reason to pull it off unless it's just easier for you, but we could pull that off. It may be easier to get the whole assembly off instead of just the climate control sensor. To be honest, I'm not real sure. My other one, the tube assembly piece was just missing, so the climate control sensor was just hanging out. So I'm gonna get in there and try to unplug it. There's no way, there's just no room for me to get y'all in here as well. So I will just let y'all know the easiest way to get this thing out. All right, it actually was pretty easy. I couldn't remember how this thing went in, but you can just pull down on the plug get y'all focused over here. Pull down on the plug and it'll just unplug. Now I did end up pulling that tube off just to make things a little bit easier. So now we have everything undone from the dash. So it is ready to come out. Now, just taking a minute to think things through. Yeah. So we're going to be extremely careful with this dash because it's actually in decent shape. It's got, you know, like a crack there, crack, but, you know, it's got a whole nice area here with no cracks. So this is actually going in my other car. That's why I'm pulling the dash. I want to swap dashes because we're about to sell this one because the body is just so beat up on it. I don't think somebody's going to appreciate the better dash in this one, you know, because, well, yeah, since the body's kind of junk on this one. So we're going to take the better dash, put it in my other car, and the cracked dash is going to come in here. It'll match the body. So like you saw, I pulled the vent, the rubber vent piece off of these center vents to get to the climate control sensor, but, and I think I did mention, you're gonna have to pull that off anyway. They would probably come off if you're trying to pull it off, but I feel like you should probably pull them off so you don't end up like ripping them when you're trying to get the dash out or something. So now I'm gonna probably try to set y'all up. I don't know, probably have to go from maybe outside where you can see inside. This job is definitely easier with two people, but I'm here by myself, so we're gonna get this thing out by myself. I mean, y'all can help if you want. I apologize, this is probably not the best view. This is about the best I can do. There's just not a lot of room. So, the dash kind of fits under the windshield. So, the best thing I've found is you kind of just try to get it free first. And that's just kind of picking up, because it's going to be kind of stuck. So I kind of alarm's going off. So that's the first things I'm doing, is just trying to get the thing wiggled free. It kind of fits under a lip under the center console, so you're going to have to try to either, you do it two ways. You can, once you pull it out from the windshield, you can kind of pull it out and then pick it up, or you can kind of do it like this. But you got to get it out from under the center console, and the center console's got some wiggle in it. You know, it's not like rigid. So if you pull it up like this, the center console does kind of pull out a little bit to let it kind of come up. And so we've now got the dash loose. Now I like to take this opportunity to kind of look around, make sure there's nothing holding it in. You know, oh, glad I looked. So your speaker wire, I almost forgot about this. Your speaker wire goes in a series of clips under the dash, like some tie wraps, but they're those ones that you can push and then kind of undo them. Now in my other car, all I did was actually pulled the dash out. And then took it out. But on this one, I'll just go ahead and take it out. Give me a second. I'll get these out. You'll see, it's obvious. If you follow your speaker wire, the plug, you'll see all along this bottom row, there's a series of tie wraps. I'm going to call them tie wraps. that the things are fastened into. This one, the little tail of it is tucked in. It's kind of hard to get that done. Now on the driver's side, you're going to have to get it up over the, I may need to switch sides, but we're going to try to do it all from this side. Yeah, I'm going to have to go over to the driver's side, but I can give you a commentary from the driver's side of what's going on here, but we've pretty much got it where it's ready to come out. I just need to get it up over the steering column. Like I said, this would be much easier with two people because you get somebody over here and somebody over here. I'm having to just switch sides. So all of our cables and all that kind of stuff, you're going to get out of the way. Make sure when you undo your vent tubes, you get them out of the padding that's under the dash. It's almost like carpet padding, or it's like an insulation padding. Make sure you get those vent tubes out of that stuff because they'll get hung up. And we're just pulling it back until we get some more room. Your cruise control thing here is just going to be kind of a pain. It's kind of in the way. And just lifting up, we're tilting the dash back this way so that we can get it up out of here. And we're hung up. Now, the tube that goes to the climate control sensor goes in a tie wrap. Did not on my other car. I forgot about this. And the ones I removed previously were the 240D in the junkyard. But don't forget this tube. I have to come over there and set this thing down in the seat. Be very careful with the dash. They are very brittle. So you definitely don't want to break or crack your dash. This is that tube I'm talking about. There's a tie wrap on the top side of the dash that it ties into. So now we can take our dash, we can pull it out. That's it. Not too difficult. Once you get one done, you kind of get the hang of it, and they're not too bad. But definitely, the first time, just take your time and just don't get in a rush, and it'll come out. So I think that's it. It'll go back the same way. Your dash has got to get in the windshield, so you're going to kind of come in like that and get it up under the windshield seal going around, and then you can push it down. So in and down, and then you're going to have to just kind of get it around the center console. You know, these. Can you see what I'm pointing at? No, you can't. So this has got to get up under the center console. So that's only, once you go in, you have to go down, but you're also going to have to work it in to work these in behind the center console. So you're going to have to you can pull up on the center console a little bit to help you work it in. Like I said, it's pretty flexible. It's got some wiggle room, so you can kind of do that with no problem. All right, we're going to end this off here. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below hit the like button and subscribe for more.